Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing today? Bob Books here for the Gilly Glue. Wanted to talk to you today about the start of fall migration. I know everybody doesn't want to hear about fall, and it's summertime. It's a super hot day out there today. But I was on my bike this morning, and I was thinking about a few things, and I heard a few things actually that sort of made me start to think about that the migration and the transition has started. I also had a customer get in touch with me a week or so ago. I was talking about migration, and she sent me a little note and said, what should I do in my yard to prepare for migration? So I thought I got started to think about that, and there's a few things that I think we can do that can really enhance the migratory bird as well as the bird that lives in our yard year round. So a couple of things to think about with the migratory bird and the transition. Often we think migration, it's something that's here, right here with us, that leaves. But there's also tons of other birds that are in tons of other areas that are going to transition through. And that's happening already a lot with some nighthawks and some hummingbirds and some warblers and some flycatchers. All those early migrants that come here to eat bugs, have babies, and take off are, well, the warblers and the flycatchers, all those things. They're starting to transition, and they're starting to move a little bit and leave their nesting areas. They're fledglings. There's all kinds of fledglings. We all been talking about that in the store and everything. There's all kinds of babies around, from chickadees and wrens straight up through to all the woodpeckers and everything else that's around our yards. So today, so what can you do to help your yard to be prepared? So I think that there's 4 or 5 main things that I want to talk about. Have water and food available, obviously. As we always are talking about habitat creation, so lots of berries and wild grasses and roosting spots and nesting boxes that they can roost in at night and all those things. But a lot of those birds are you got to remember, migrate at night. The other thing is to shut off the outside lights at night. It's a huge thing. We have so much artificial light around today, and people have decorative solar lights around and all kinds of things in their yards, even yard lights that are on 24 or all night. It's changing the ecosystems, and with all of these birds that migrate at night, they use the stars and light to transition to pick their course. So if we have them flooded with all this light, studies have shown actually that it just disorients them. They don't know where they are, they get mixed up, they lose course, and they end up perishing. And there's enough birds perishing from other sources that we talk about all the time. So water, shut off your lights at night, keep your cat inside, particularly at migration. Don't let your cat roam free. Cats are probably one of the highest killers of songbirds or birds in general in Canada alone. Next up, or very close first, second, obviously is window strikes, that birds are hitting windows. So as birds are migrating, they're going to be flying. So make sure that you have some feather-friendly decals on your window. We have all kinds of those things at the store, but also check our YouTube channel because there's stuff there. So those are a few of the things that you can do to help with the migratory bird. But the birds that I heard this morning that made me start to think about it, and the one in particular that I just love, it's one of my favorite birds, is the great crested flycatcher. I love it because of its appearance, its habits, its call. They're here for a very short period of time. They're one of the last to arrive and one of the first to depart. They come, as they say, they come in, have our bugs, have their babies, and away they go. And they're certainly starting to do that. The great crested flycatcher is a fantastic bird. I just got a couple of shots here. Now this is one that's very, very, very good in terms of being able to take a look at a flycatcher. Now look at that guy. Look at the beak, some wing bars, the yellow underbelly, fairly flat across the bottom of the tail. It's robinish size or bigger. It's a beautiful, beautiful bird. Here it is with its gray throat all tufted up, the crop on the crest, if they call it. So this is a great crested flycatcher that's up when it's excited or in mating season, or it's in defense or anything like that. And then the very distinct yellow breast. There's another one here that's a beautiful. Look at that! Isn't that a gorgeous bird? Beautiful, beautiful bird. Again, feathered, layered feathered tail, rusty brown underside, very yellowy breast, very heavy patch on the throat there. That's very great patch. In this particular picture, he's not showing his crest up, which happens, but that very bug oriented flycatcher beak. And the calls that I really like about this guy that makes it so much fun, particularly in the spring when the male and the female are together and they're getting the nest going and stuff. And we had several around here all year. But listen, this is a pair of birds squawking back and forth as an outburst, they call it. Crazy. Love these guys. The real song that I like, we had one time at a cottage, there was one nesting up in the gable end of a cottage that we had rented a number of years ago, and we were around the cottage quite a bit, and it almost became addicting for everybody to be doing what we called their freep. They call it a weep, but we back then, this is 20 or 25 years ago, we called it a freep. And they would just it was just sort of an explanation freep that they would do. Anyway, here's their freep. Anyway, that's the call that I heard this morning when I was out my bike. Made me think of this bird and the fact that it's going to start to migrate, and it's going to happen pretty soon. They're starting to transition. We get into mid-August here. We're the long weekend in August. We get into the mid-August. That's going to signal a lot of birds that are going to be moving. So a lot of the boreal forest birds then are going to start to come down. So at your bird baths and what have you, take a look, because you never know what you're going to see. Some of the warblers and things that are on the move that you normally wouldn't have in your yard because they're not seed eaters and what have you, that you never know what you can experience. So shut your lights off at night, keep your cats inside, make sure that there's no birds going to be striking your windows, make sure you get some decals and things on there, keep some food available, and get ready for migration because it's upon us. Another sure tell sign about migration is the August meteor shower. It's the annual meteor shower that happens when the Earth's rotation and when it gets into the meteor showers that happens every year in August. Already starting to show some signs of some meteors on yesterday. Actually, one of the telescopes and things found one. And so it's going to peak. I just had it here. So especially between August 11th and August 13th, when the Earth expects to pass through the densest part of the comet's debris zone. So I follow a website called spaceweather.com. If you want to find out anything there, it's a great link to go there. But get ready for migration, get ready in your yard, get ready to enjoy some sights perhaps that you've not seen. Make sure you carry your binoculars with you where you go. And migration is upon us. And we can say, freep, freep, freep. Have yourself a great day.